All right, in this video, we're going to talk about the absurdity of the Roger Ver indictment and also the dangerous legal precedent that it may be setting if it continues on. So back around the end of April, the Roger Ver indictment was unsealed. And I made a video when it first came out. And oddly enough, it was shortly after the time of his book, Hijacking Bitcoin, that came out on Amazon. Now, those who haven't kind of kept up with Roger Ver, he's known as Bitcoin Jesus. He's been an evangelist for Bitcoin as a form of freedom, economic freedom, financial freedom, freedom from censorship, freedom from data integrity, where Bitcoin actually allows you to restore and own your own data through tokenomics. And I mean, this guy has been a pioneer of Bitcoin as a form of freedom in all aspects of life since the very beginning. Now, he's also been very outspoken in the way of, his objections to the United States government and some of their policies, so much so that he completely left the United States and he forfeited his citizenship over 10 years ago now. Now, it's important to note that in this indictment, what they're trying to do is charge a non-resident alien. Now, that is not mentioned in the indictment, but I'm going to tell you right now, that is exactly what's going on. It's Title 26, CFR 1-1.1, subsection A, and it talks about how all U.S. citizens and residents are liable for taxes. Non-residents are not. Non-residents are only liable for certain taxes for securities and selling of stocks. And that's not relevant to this case. So Roger Ver is a non-resident. He flat out resides in like Tokyo or St. Kitts. He is not a U.S. citizen. Just because someone is born in a state doesn't make him a U.S. citizen. Apparently he was born in California. That doesn't make him a U.S. citizen. Now, he can volunteer into being a U.S. citizen if he chooses to through filing federal income taxes and other forms. That's his choice. But he clearly declared that he is absolutely not a U.S. citizen and not a resident. And therefore, it is an obfuscation of not just him, but its overall precedent, any type of precedent to try to charge it on. Imagine this, you're just a person in Germany, or Vietnam, chilling, doing your thing, and you make a lot of money, and you say something bad about the U.S. government. You don't like you don't like Joe Biden, you don't like Donald Trump, and you start talking all these bad things about it. All of a sudden, they send out an indictment for you for tax charges, and they want money from you they want to extradite you from your country over there in Germany or Vietnam, even though you weren't even born out here. You're not a citizen of the United States. They want you to pay taxes, and they want to extradite you now to come out here to the United States to be charged. And people are like, that's absurd. That's what's going on with Roger Ver right now. This guy is he's a non-resident, all right? He is this is a jurisdictional, problem and a constitutional crisis as to what's potentially happening. So there is a great video, which I'll put at the end of this, which you can link. It goes into more detail with Viva, Fry, Matt and Attorney Barnes, who's a good constitutional attorney, breaks down the indictment pretty well. I'll put that at the end and also in a card here. But in addition, I just want to kind of, share my, support for it, and also the Free Roger campaign, which is out. And I'll put a link to the Free Roger thing in here as well. But let me kind of give you just a summary as to what I believe is. I mean, a presidential pardon here is probably what it's going to take. In this case, being the incoming president, to pardon Ver. Now, the latest news on Ver is that he's out on bail in Spain. So he was arrested in Spain in June. May of this year, and then he was set out on bail. He has not posted anything on his social media. There's been no press since then. We don't know what's going on, but he was out on bail in June. So he's probably wearing an ankle bracelet somewhere, and maybe he's in Europe or Spain somewhere. I don't know if he's allowed to leave. There's been no comment. We have no further information. But the U.S. Now, what I think is important here is that in reading the actual docket, and I was going to share it, but I'm just going to comment on it. So in reading the docket now of the case itself, okay, so the docket started on February of this year. Now, there has been no appearance by Ver in the docket, meaning that they've got no personal jurisdiction over Ver. The U.S. doesn't. Now, they're apparently trying to do an extradition with the Spanish court. Maybe the Spanish court has jurisdiction over them and got them in custody out there. But they're still, the U.S. is still trying to, off the record, convince the Spanish court, because there's been no update in this PACER filing for the U.S. court. I have objections to that, because if they're trying to do actions in another court, they should be noticing the U.S. court and the magistrate in this U.S. court in California as to what's going on. And they have not been doing that. I mean, sealing stuff, and I have a strong objection to that. We have a right, as press, as a member of the press, to see what's going on in a case. And, I encourage the U.S. Attorney's Office to just publish whatever's going on in the case. Hey, we're trying to indict Ver. We're trying to extradite Ver. What's going on with it, dude? Publish it, man. People need to know. Do a press release at a minimum. All they said was, we're trying to extradite Ver. That's it. And that was months ago. So we have no idea what's going on. So overall, a presidential pardon for Ver is probably would send the strongest message here to fix this issue and serious crisis about trying to extradite people from outside the borders who are non-residents, in complete violation and conflict with well-settled established law, 26 CFR 1-1.1a. Says that non-residents are not to be paying taxes. This guy's a non-resident, okay? So, this is an important case that needs to be that needs to set precedent, that it's got to be dismissed, and loudly dismissed, about how wrong and unconstitutional and morally wrong it is. Because clearly it's about this hijacking Bitcoin book. I mean, I imagine that seems to be what it, I don't know, they rushed out the case immediately thereafter. The book was published like a month earlier, and all of a sudden they rush out this case and get this guy. He just published this book. We want to get him into custody. I mean, it's taxes. Think about it. A guy in a foreign country, they're saying he owes you taxes out here. The foreign country in Spain should be looking at this like saying, what? Well, if we let you extradite Ver, then next thing you know, you'll be coming for us. Be the world police tax force of Spain. Now, that'll be the next thing. So Spanish court now, they're going to be going for the Spanish citizen out there next. I mean, that's the type of precedent that's trying to be set with this Ver case, and make an example that the United States Attorney's Office somehow can go out into other jurisdictions and charge people anywhere they want, even though they're not residents. This is an absolute, it is a mockery, dude. It's an absolute ridiculous mockery. That's my opinion. Hit the subscribe button, and check out the video at the end with Barnes breaking this whole thing down. My name's Gavin Gregory. I'll see you at the top.